Good evening, everyone, and welcome back once again to Vicious Rants. And of course, I am your host, your YouTube messiah, and often imitated, never duplicated backyard superstar Tim Vicious. I am talking about with this week's Raw, and oh dear God, where do I begin on the problems on it? The crowd sucked, the matches sucked. There was zero heat given in any of the matches. There was no build towards any stories, really. Or, in my opinion, I didn't feel any stories being built in any kind of way. And it's... Ugh. Yeah, it's... Ugh. They started the show with bringing out three guests for a guest panel, and yeah, they brought out Hogan, Shawn Michaels, and Ric Flair, and for whatever reason they decided to have them do a guest panel in the middle of the ring, and it made absolutely zero sense to do that as an opening segment for the show, because all they were doing was bickering like it was the senior citizen male wrestling version of The View, and this is why they do that. This is why it's called a pre-show, people. Either do it then or pre-record it and air it later in the show. But don't make that your opener. And the crowd was nowhere near behind this. They weren't behind anything. They weren't even behind when Ziggler came out later that night. But I'll get to that later on. Yeah, but anyways, first thing I noticed when they said that it was Hogan, Shawn Michaels, and Ric Flair, first thing I thought of, Brock Lesnar destroyed all three of those guys at one point or another. Yeah, so just food for thought there, folks. And then they all talked about on how Cena got his ass kicked. Cena got his ass kicked. There's no way Cena's going to win. The only one that was saying Cena was going to win was Hogan. And then, of course, who else comes out? Cuck Fina. Cena died. Rise above Cena. You know, I almost had this problem taken care of. I gotta remember to call a doctor about this thing or something, but Cena comes out now he's talking about on how, yeah, it changed him, he's gonna be more hot, more hard, more vicious, more aggressive, kind of shit. Really? First thing about when Cena came out that pissed me off was walking out there wearing that damn red and yellow shirt, looking like a mix between a Happy Meal and looking like you're trying to copy Hulk fucking Hogan. And another thing that pissed me off was, you know, at no point in time was he even attempting to sell that, you know, he got 16 German suplexes thrown on him, you know, like he could have worn a soft collar, you know, could have worn a neck collar like Joe Gardner wore, just to, even if it was just for TV, just to sell it, saying, you know, yeah, he hurt me, and I'm a little banged up now, but I'll be ready at Night of Champions, you know. Could have done that. But really, it's, in all honesty, I really hope on how that one goes down, on how that fight goes down, goes about the same as the first time Batman fought Bane. And I'm not talking in Dark Knight Rises. No. I'm talking straight up in the comic book, where Bane just goes, let's just tosses Batman around like a frickin' rag doll. And if you don't know this Batman story, shame on you. And after you're done watching this show, obviously, look up the Nightfall story. You'll appreciate it. And then, right at the end, just picks him up and says, and now, I break you! Wham! And tosses him over his back and snaps him like a frickin' toothpick. I just really hope it goes like that because, you know, I give crap about part-timers and part-time champions. But you know what? This is something different. It's something that's needed. And aside from that, let me ask you this. Who else in the company right now legitimately can be seen as a main event guy that people aren't going to bitch and whine and say, oh, this guy's too boring. Oh, this guy's had it so many times. Oh, blah, blah, blah. You know? I understand you got to pull the trigger on some people every now and again, but honestly, who's ready? Before you fanboys out there want to go and say it's Reigns, he ain't. He ain't ready. I'm throwing that out there right now. Roman Reigns ain't ready for the main event spot yet. Have him keep on being polished. Have him work in this main event spot between now and Mania 32. Then he will be. Ambrose, I think he is. But, you know, right now I really hope they ain't going to make Dean Ambrose do like Mick Foley did with the Lost in Cleveland bit. Rollins, I can see him in the main event spot. Maybe not as champion just yet, especially with Brock as champion. But I could see him in the main event spot. But those guys, I don't see them being the guy that Vince is saying, okay, we're going to put you in the main event and we're going to give you the title too. You know? But that's just me. You know, I got a weird mindset and a weird way of looking at on how matches go and on how guys move. But anyways, on with the first match of the night. Rematch, Rusev and Swagger. Best part of this match, hands down, Lana. And, yeah, Lana, and furthermore, just for the record, Lana. I mean, really, it's like I said, I could watch it. She could sit there, dressed like she is on TV. I could sit there and watch her read a phone book for all I care. Because, you know what? Beautiful side about me, I have a very creative imagination, and, well, I'm just going to leave it at that because there are children that watch this show, and, yeah, there's still a horde of angry parents out there protesting it. But this match, it was good. I mean, it wasn't like what there was at SummerSlam. It was good for a Monday Night Raw. You know? I mean, it was good. I liked it. Swagger had that never say die American attitude, which is helping him, especially now with his face push. And I don't care what anyone says. I'm all for Swagger being a face now. I'm hoping that he gets a legitimate push with this. You know? And you know, I can see it going that way for him. You know? He had the ankle lock on Rusev a few different times, trying to get him to work. Trying to get him to tap. He didn't. Match wound up coming to an end because the ref wound up calling it because Rusev was just stomping a mud hole in him and walking it dry. And, you know, basically on his ribs. And then, so the ref called it for that. And next matchup we had right after that, it was Cesaro versus Van Dam for #1 contender for the U.S. title, which now I'm going to start bitching on right here, right now, because Sheamus hasn't been on TV for the past couple weeks. Obviously, I know he's been recovering from the flu. I'll give you that as a pass. But for the fact of the matter is, you won the U.S. title. You go and you try and gloat and try and make yourself all big and bad, saying that you'll take on any comer anywhere, and yet you've defended it about as much as Dean Ambrose did. Now, before any of y'all start bitching about on how much Ambrose didn't defend the U.S. title, I want y'all to take a look at how often Sheamus has defended his. So, you know, I'm just saying is all. Now, anyways, This match, it was... I liked it, but it didn't have any feel to it. You know, didn't really feel like the guys had any chemistry together, which, you know, is saying something considering how many times them two have had matches. You know, Sheamus was on commentary the whole time, and Cesaro, he got the win, obviously, because they weren't going to put Van Dam versus Sheamus on a pay-per-view. Although, I am happy to see that they're actually making the U.S. title in a match at Night of Champions, considering it's a pay-per-view where all the titles are supposed to be on the line. You know, but it's... Yeah, Cesaro, he was probably hands down, short from when MVP was U.S. champion, in my book, the best one they had. You know, especially with the way he worked, he actually had his gimmick revolving around the U.S. title, which was beautiful. I liked it. I loved that, and I wish they would start doing things like that again, you know? Not just, you know, not like what they did with the ball bag Miz, saying that the Intercontinental title is a movie prop because he's an actor, because that pissed me off to no end, and I sure as hell ain't gonna go on that again. Because, you know, I just finally got my blood pressure down from that. But Cesaro won the match, he got the neutralizer, next thing you know, picked up the title, was looking at it, Sheamus got up, was like, oh, that's mine, fella. And Cesaro threw it right at him, and I know right now I'm wearing an Ireland shirt, and I'm calling him Sheamus, so don't go trying to judge. I'm full-blooded Irish, but I don't like him. I don't like Sheamus. I may like him if WWE winds up taking my idea and making Irish mob stable, putting him, Devitt, Becky Lynch in a stable, and have Fit Finlay be like the Godfather manager type of role. You know, if they did something like that, I may like him. I may not. I don't know. But either way, next matchup, it was an ST Diva match. In which case, of all the times that my bladder didn't say I had to go, it had to be at this match. It was Natalya versus Paige. Only good part on this I really liked was the fact that Natalya had a heart-shaped spot right there on her cleavage, which I fully endorse. I'm pretty sure not only me, but any other perverted, creepy bastard out there may be endorse as well. Paige, she comes out trying to do that crazy, sexy thing like AJ, and Paige, honey, trust me, I've dated enough crazy women to fill an insane asylum. You can pull off crazy. You can also pull off sexy. But you cannot pull off the crazy, sexy look. Trust me, I have dated enough women that can do both. You cannot do that. So stick to your guns, go with what works best for you. Either one or the other. Don't try and do both. I didn't like the match. It just felt way too mechanical, like, okay, now we're going to do this spot. Now we're going to do this spot. Now, I'm going to put you in this. It felt too mechanical for me. It didn't feel fluid. You know? And the big thing that really got me on this one was the crowd was even more dead here than at any other point in time, at least in my book. Which is saying something because, you know, the crowd itself was really dead in general for everything, and Anaheim, you should really be ashamed of yourself for that, because, wow, man, just, wow. You want to talk about screwing up, you know, Y'all had WrestleMania there back in '96 where you had an Iron Man match. You guys were good then. Y'all can't do nothing now? Anyways, Paige wound up winning the match. She did the Paige turn and... oh, yay. And, oh look. Paige wins the Divas title and it starts looking like she's getting worked. She's having to work like Cena again. Doing 5 moves of doom. Pretty soon we're going to start seeing Paige doing this. And yeah, next thing you know, after Paige wins, AJ comes out. She just looks, oh Paige, my little English muffin. Which, I'm pretty sure I had 1 or 2 girlfriends try and make a reference to me and my waist size like that once. But that's a story meant for another day that I can't say on here because, like I said, children, ears, angry parents. She wound up going on there saying, I love you. No, I really love you. Gave a hug, looking like a Bailey kind of hug, and then grabbed Paige's hand, kissed it, and really, do we need another lesbian angle? I mean, seriously, especially considering now it's PG. How far are you going to be willing? How far can you go with doing a lesbian angle on a PG show? I mean, a kiss on the cheek or just a peck on the lips. That's it. You know? And I don't know. I'm old-fashioned. I like my wrestling and my porn separate. If you're going to have a porn star doing something with wrestling, do not glorify that they're a porn star. Actually have them do a wrestling thing. You know? But, hey, I'm old-fashioned, like I said. I like my wrestling and my porn separate. But, next matchup, probably my book, best match of the night. And, again, shame on you, Anaheim, for giving this match, for acting like this match was nothing more but complete bullshit. It was the Usos versus the Dust Brothers, and I'm not going to say who won just yet. All I'm going to say is the second gen team with the face paint won. And now that I'm done being a bit of a sarcastic dick for at least 30 seconds, on with the match. I liked the match. I thought it was good. You know, would really like to see, you know, the Usos. Like I said, they don't do anything for me as far as with tag teams go. What do they got that's, you know, supposed to make me think, okay, this team stands out? You know? They do super kicks. They do suicide dives. They do body splashes. They do Samoan drops. What else do you got? Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. You know, and Cody has shown phenomenally. Cody, at least, is willing to be different because you look at Cody Rhodes' moves compared to Stardust moves, and that is a complete 360. You know? It was beautiful. You know, Goldust and Star, they wound up working great together on that. You know, there's rumors that the Ascension are going to be coming up soon. I seen a dark match with the Ascension going against Cody and Goldust when I went to Pittsburgh for SmackDown. I absolutely loved it. I really hope the Ascension come up to the roster soon. You know, even yet, and I even said it the night on Twitter, what they could do if Goldust and Stardust win. The Ascension come out, beat them up, make a hell of a debut. If the Usos win, the Ascension come out, beat them up, make a hell of a debut. Either way, make a hell of a debut. The Ascension didn't come out. Anyways, one of the Usos, I forget, it was Uso number 2, I think, wound up doing a suicide dive over the top rope. Landed on Cody, was selling it like he tweaked his knee. Next thing you know, wound up getting the win by a count out. Cody and Goldust wound up getting the win by a count out. Titles didn't change hands, and best part of this was right after the match, Goldust grabbed the mic. Hold on. You guys want to go and act like you guys want to fake an injury so that way you can keep your titles? No, we want a rematch. We had this match. We want a rematch, and we want it right now. Uso said no. Next thing you know, Dustin and Cody both wound up going to town on them. Absolutely loved it. I hope they keep this going with them, and I hope they keep them heel, because this would really be great. Up next, it was Dolph Ziggler, and at first I thought it was going to be the ball bag kitten killer, Miz, but no, instead, Miz decided to come out and be more of a ball bag and be like, oh, but you see, as an actor, we don't go and do our own, we don't go and risk hurting ourselves. No, we have extras that'll do that. So allow me to introduce my extra, Damien Mizdow. And Sandow came out acting as the Miz, and I gotta say, I was surprised. He pulled off a better Miz than the Miz. You know, I mean, hell, he even did a sloppy figure 4 better than the Miz. But thankfully, though, God doesn't kill a kitten every time Sandow does a figure 4. But folks, keep in mind, every time Miz does a figure 4, God kills a kitten. Somebody, please, think of the kittens. I just don't want to see them hurt, is all. And anyways, yeah, the ball bag was on commentary, and really didn't like it. It was your atypical Sandow match, you know, and Ziggler obviously won. Miz wound up saying right when the bell rung, well, that extra's fired. Threw down the headset and walked off. Really? Dude. Rule number 1, don't be a douche. Rule number 2, don't be a douche. Rule number 3, follow rules 1 and 2. Which, by the way, Miz, if you ever get a chance to talk to Austin Aries, maybe you should remind him of those rules. On with the show. Next match, it was Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins and Kane. This match came to be because of a promo that happened earlier that night, and I only talk about promos on here when it's needed. This one's needed. They wound up doing a eulogy for Dean Ambrose earlier in the show, and first thing that popped in my mind, they did a eulogy for him. Wait, if Dean Ambrose is gone, who's going to master all of the Divas' titties? Well, folks, I think I may need to come out of retirement now. We'll start with Lana, and then we'll work our way down in alphabetical order. And I know my ABCs, don't try and question otherwise. I'm a man on a mission now. Anyways, they did the eulogy for Ambrose, talking about on how those cinder blocks weren't just there by chance, and I crapped on. I want to make it clear now. When I said what I said about on Twitter about with the cinder block spot, I wasn't crapping on that. You know, all I was saying was, having done bricklaying work myself, I know for a fact cinder blocks don't break that easy. Not saying that that spot didn't hurt, I'm just saying. I don't think those cinder blocks should have been broken when Dean's face hit it, you know? But that's me. Now, Seth's going on saying on how Dean's gone and, you know, he's gonna, you know, ain't nothing no one can do to stop him. He's going to the top. He's a number 1, that kind of crap. Next thing you know, cue the music, out comes Reigns. Reigns starts going to town on them, and this is actually a logical feud now because Seth took out Dean Ambrose. Now Seth needs to take out... Now if they work this right in the story, they get to have it say Seth took out Dean, and now Seth needs to take out Roman. So that way, the very last remnants of the Shield will be gone. It makes sense. But, anyways, they made that handicap match. Ugh, I didn't like it. I didn't like it. It didn't feel really good. You know, the match didn't. I mean, it felt very below average for a Monday Night Raw match. You know, I mean, Reigns wound up getting the win by DQ, and ugh. I'm not even going to talk about the cinder block spot at the end because honestly, it doesn't even need mentioning. Next matchup, it was Los Matadors versus the Slater Gators, and I'm making it clear right now. I refuse to chant Ole until El Generico saves all of the orphans in Mexico. I would like to think that when Kevin Steen gets time, hopefully WWE will let him go down to Mexico and help him. Fingers crossed, folks. Let's all hope that he can, because Generico needs whatever help he can for those orphans. This match, it was your run-of-the-mill time card filler. You know, biggest disappointment in the match was the Slater Gators didn't win. You know, I actually like the idea that them two bicker back and forth. Like, you know, you got O'Neal doing his thing, and you got Slater trying to copy it and sounding like a little Shih Tzu dog doing arr, arr, arr. It's great. I liked it. But yeah, Matadors won. Yeah, it's ugh. Next thing you know, main event of the night, or no, not main event yet. Sorry, got one more match to go before that. It was Kofi versus Bo Dallas, and heaven help me, I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but I'm actually starting to get behind the Bo Dallas gimmick now. So yes, I'm starting to become a Bo-lever, you know, and it's only because like I said, the character and the gimmick was just so cheesy. That's why I absolutely loved it. But man, now it's just like I'm really starting to dig this. I don't know if it's because I'm starting to get like a Stockholm thing, you know, having it on, seeing it so much, or what. But yeah, it's kind of creepy. Either way, you know, it was again atypical. It was Wrestler A versus Kofi Kingston. Who do you think's going to win? Obviously. And a lot of people are asking why Kofi, Big E, and Woods doing that little stable no more. I'm thinking it's because of all that riot shit that happened over in Ferguson. That's me, though. You know, but Bo got the win. Next thing you know, cue the Hypno Belly and victory lap around the ring. Next matchup, it was the main event, Bray Wyatt versus John Cena, and hands down the most disappointing match between them two so far. Between them two, out of all the matches they've had. Start right off bat, Cena coming off trying to look aggressive, instead he looks like he's holding in a 2-month-long poop, and really, John, seriously, if your pipes are backed up that much, if your pipes are backed up that bad, easy enough. I'm going to give you the same cure that works for me. Glass of warm water, a set of headphones, and sit on the toilet and then watch the best of John Cena matches. Clears my tank every time. Just keep that in mind, bud. You know, Cena starting off right off bat doing German suplexes just like Lesnar. That is gimmick infringement, man. Seriously, and I did not like it. I didn't like it. You know, and Cena didn't even look like he could do the suplex right. You know, I gave those German suplexes like 2 out of 10. You know? Yeah, it's a very bad match. I didn't like it. Just as John was about to get the 1-2-3 win, Rowan and Harper came in. That was the saving grace on that point. They started all beating up on him. Out comes Big Show and Mark Henry. Next thing you know, somehow the spirit of Teddy Long still lives on, and we got ourselves a tag team match, players. Holla holla! And we got a 6-man tag now. And yeah, really wasn't all that impressed with this one either. You know, Rowan and Harper, honestly, I feel they should just start doing more standalone things. Obviously, you know, acknowledge that they're part of the Wyatt family, but just, you know, don't have them do Wyatt family affairs. Have them do their own private thing. You know? I still say they should have given them the titles, because they could have done so much with them guys with those titles. You know? You know, and now that you got Big Show and Mark Henry teaming up, you know, you could have done that. Have them two go up against each other, because that could have worked. You know, but anyways, obviously the baby faces won. Cena, Show, Henry, whoo, yay. Yeah, that was the show. I give it a 4 out of 10. That was it. And yeah, anyways, that's all the time for this week's show. So, like all normal, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, go back, watch all the other episodes. Look for me on Twitter at TimVicious. Make sure y'all look for my backup account, Tim_Vicious. I get put in Twitter jail every now and again, haven't in a while, which is kind of surprising. Also, make sure y'all follow all these cool ass cats right here on Twitter. Vicky Earls. Make sure y'all look for Vicky's YouTube channel. I am Danny Sunday, Mucky Morse, Axel Mulligan, Sunday Segway. Also make sure y'all look for Axel's YouTube show, Axel's Analysis. He does his on NXT, so it's a lot like this, but since it's on NXT, that means it's better, naturally. So, look for Sunday Segway, Sinfully Sabrina, Cranky Grandpa, Legion Lady Aaron, Oliver Ben, Just a Stupid Mark. Make sure y'all look for Ollie Benz and Masked Mark's TNA Turnaround. Also, Bronx Bitch number 4 ever, who is my client, and may I add, my client will be the new Raw General Manager. Now, before I go and give my closing statement like I always do, want to let y'all know, also look on my channel. I did do that ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. I challenged Cliff Compton, Kit Osborne from Combat Zone. I messed up when I did the video because I was in such a rush. I said Kent. Sorry about that. And Andrew WK. Those guys haven't answered yet. If you can get them to answer, and you know, I'd appreciate it. But that's all the time. So, like I always tell y'all, you love me, great. You hate me, fuck yous.